Yes. Okay. We'll call the meeting over if we could, please. First order of business would be the minutes from the November 19th meeting. There was one little small correction on the spelling of Mr. Alan Hatcher's name. I've already let Jeanette know that. She's going to make that correction. Thanks, District 2 Magistrate, for catching that.
Good job.
Otherwise, entertain a motion to approve the minutes. No other corrections or changes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Gary, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Eric. Further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry.
You next one to the public hearing.
Yeah, it's down the line. And then the minutes have been done, the bills and transfers. I'm changing up the end a little bit too.
I just have one question on the total bills under the general fund. Trash bags, it's $2,500 for trash bags.
What line item are you on here?
It's on page 3.
Page 3?
Under
Not
general
middle
fund.
ways.
Is that roadside cleanup?
It should be in the solid waste though, shouldn't
It is in small size.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. We buy those annually for those big, great big orange bags. That's part of that grant you get from the state for buying for picking up the trash.
You got a question mark too, yeah?
So it does seem like a lot.
Yeah.
No, we do get money to do that from the state.
Okay.
I don't know how many they order, but that is a reimbursable item.
We buy those once a year, so that covers it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of them, I can tell you. We go through, twice a year, we'll go through probably, I know, 20 or 30 cases out front here. I don't know what we use, Russell uses on his team and so forth.
Okay. I just,
It's money well spent.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
awful high.
It's a lot, but.
Sounds like a lot.
See, there you go, we do that, been doing that for years, take it regularly, but it's a good question from yourself. Any other questions on the bills? I will say on the bill on the Corwin's Furniture Planning and Zoning Office, that was where it says $9,796, it's $500 less, right? We took some of the carpet up ourselves and saved $500 on that property. So it'll be a little less than that, what we actually paid.
Make a motion to pay the bills and transfers as presented.
Thank you, Bernard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Eric. Discussion?
I got one question. On the Maywood speed bumps, are we responsible for the?
That'll be a reimbursement for the homeowners. The question is about the speed humps that was mentioned. Maywood will reimburse us for the home association.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? And motion will carry. Okay. Before I get into our public hearing section of the fiscal court, I've got 3 guys back here in the back of the office here. Mark Young, Russell Fulkerson, and Keith Willett. I want to recognize those guys today for one reason. You know, I'm always reluctant to call on employees because we got a great bunch of employees across the board. But about almost 6 years ago, we started a program in the county called the Feeding America program. And for 6 years, 5.5, 6 years, I have to go back and look at my records. These 3 guys have stepped to the plate. And of course, Bryce is helping now, but these guys have a tenure with me. I just want to recognize them publicly because they come in at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, go to E-Town, pick up the food. They help afterwards clean up, and they do a tremendous job. And I think the public needs to recognize, even though they're on the payroll, they volunteer to help. Of course, with a little twist of an arm or two, maybe. But they've been consistent with me, and I want to thank them publicly for what you do for the community. Thank you. Now you can get back to work.
Russell, you're blushing.
Thank y'all. I'm always reluctant to call on employees, but that
They do a great job.
They come
Where
in-
you was gonna fire him.
publicly.
Ooh, that'd be awful, wouldn't it? I'd like to at this time open a public hearing on a proposed closure of a small section of Simpson Creek Road near Bloomfield. You guys have seen there was a legal notice advertising this particular hearing, in particular proposed closing. Is there anybody in the audience today that would be adversely affected by closing this particular road? If you are, please step forward. For or against, either way. No one here. And we know that one fellow's here for in favor of it. He's the one that requested it. Being no one here, Jeanette, we'll call this the public hearing section closed and ask Brad to come forward with his recommendations.
Okay, so part of this process through KRS 178-070, I had to meet out the site with two people from citizens from Nelson County that had no vested interest to make sure there was no inconvenience from the discontinuance of this portion of Simpson Creek Road. We originally posted it at 370 feet that was going to close it. Upon meeting at the site, Alan Atcher and David Bishop and myself recommended, well, let's only close 360 feet beginning at the end. That will allow us sufficient room to what you'll call like a nose turnaround, where you nose up into this section because there's a culvert there, but we needed sufficient room to pull up back into an existing driveway in which the gentleman who requested to close it owns, and then turn around. So that gives us our turnaround that we need. Part of this is we will require them to sign what's called an indemnification form that allows us to use that particular driveway as well. So this is my letter to the fiscal court saying as much.
We'll put that in the record.
Okay. And so we did confirm there was no inconvenience to the Nelson County citizens from the closure of this portion of Simpson Creek.
Any questions?
So that turnaround you're talking about, will that go, if he decides to sell the property, will that go on to the next owner of the
Yes, I'll ask
property?
Mr. Williams to report that as part of his deed on that. And he's agreed upon that.
At this time, entertain a motion to close the section of Simpson Creek as described by the county engineer.
I will make a motion to close that section of Simpson Creek.
Motion been made by Eric.
I'll second.
Second by Jeff. Further discussion? All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Thank you, Brad.
And I'll send, once I get the records, I'll send that to Lincoln Trail.
Good deal.
I just want to say I appreciate Brad has done, he's done a tremendous amount of work on helping us out and getting that portion of the road closed. He did a lot of work.
There's
a lot
due
of
process,
research.
y'all
Yeah,
do.
a lot involved with it, and I do appreciate your support.
Yes, Dave.
I want to say one thing, everybody has been extremely good with this and has worked very hard. He went through 2 different counties to make sure that there was nothing that come through there to accuse that. He looked through a lot of deeds. I've met with him 2 or 3 times. He's worked on it very hard, and so has Eric, and I appreciate all you fellas, and Mr. Pinaroa can probably tell you that little section down there, we've had 3 or 4 criminals that actually the police have come down there and picked up and had to haul off vehicles, and one of them got pretty nasty with them, and he had a couple of warrants, and so, well, I've been having issues, so I really appreciate you fellows letting me close that section off so I can stop that going into my farm.
We can add another half mile or so to it if you'd like.
I own-
Eric, like, let's make it.
I own another mile there, I might just let you do that. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, fellas, I really appreciate it.
Okay, next order of business would be the Bardstown Bourbon Company's request, and actually this is under the Bardstown Bourbon Company doing business at Bardstown Bottling Company. I believe that's right, Jeff.
Excuse me,
There-
Judge.
Yes.
I have to excuse myself due to conflict of interest. County Attorney Matthew Height.
Okay, you've got a conflict doing business with the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Thank you. Record show that, Jeanette, please. Okay, first is a resolution related to an expansion. Jeff, you want to give us a little,
Yep, I could.
I'm going to make you earn your money a little bit here
There you
today.
go. Jeff McKenzie again, for Bardstown Bourbon Company is a subsidiary of Clarion, just structurally, and the other 2 entities that we've created now and that we're coming to you with today is Bardstown Barrel Company, which is going to build additional rick houses, and we're looking at 5 small or 2 large and a small kind of, so it would be a pretty substantial investment there. But more importantly, I think as far as jobs, is the bottling company, which is looking at 25 jobs just initially, and substantial investments in both cases. And that's the request today is for an IRB and the incentives, kind of the support letter and the inducement resolution on these 2 projects. So again, these are 2 separate. One is the Bardstown Barrel Company and Bardstown Bottling Company. And so we already have Bardstown Bourbon Company. I can tell you that Bardstown Bourbon Company, as you all know, has seen incredible growth, has done a great job in building up a really fantastic contract distilling business. And so the bottling would add to that, to be able to just, there's so much need for bottling right now that they would easily fill their dance card. So that's the two requests before you now. And it's, again, initially, just to be real sure, we're confident in 25 and 3 jobs. But the bottling will shoot past that.
And just give a little history, Jeff, for the managers that were not, you're the only one that probably wasn't here, but you were here for the initial. When they first bought the property, they were talking about 35 to 50 jobs.
Right.
Right now, we're at 125 jobs.
Great.
And then you add another 25. So, you have to have a gut feeling that the success will continue. And I would strongly recommend the court that approve the resolution and authorize me to sign the documents related to that. And further, the Bardstown Bourbon Company is, they're filling up all that 100-acre that they bought. And you'll get the stored spirits, and you'll get the distilled spirits tax on top of that.
Right, and that's a really good point. I mean, we do, the company and you go back to the very first purchase of that property way back when, and I think everybody thought, gee, how are they possibly going to grow that fast and need all that space, and they're filling it up. That's exactly, this has probably seen more success than I would have imagined too at the time. So your incentive for Bardstown Bourbon Company to even start up here, your incentive for them to expand and now be up to 7 million proof gallons a year capacity, it's just phenomenal already. Now they need to be able to do bottling at a big level and to have the rick houses as well. One thing I could point out is the school tax on the tax on the barrels, a big chunk of which it goes to the schools, on all of the liquid is where the big money is, as you know, and all the rick houses are just big slabs of taxable inventory, and that is preserved. If there's, your attorney and I have worked on this on a couple of different instances, including this project, and we just had that conversation. If there's any change in the law and the tax laws or anything that the company avails itself of and would reduce those taxes on the liquid, that inventory tax, then the property taxes would kick back in. In other words, we're maintaining that level. We know we're going to fill rick houses, and that's your tax. And if there's any change in that, now, we don't think there would be, but Frankfurt, they look at things all the time. If they change the taxes anyway and drop that tax on inventory, then we make that up and come back to you and pay it in property tax.
Well, there was a little talk of that, wasn't there?
There really was. And when we looked at that, that's actually 2 or 3 projects ago, Matt and I worked on that same language. So I feel very confident with that. And in this case, we just the second minutes ago worked out that between the 2 projects, if either one of them didn't happen, the other one will pick that up. So in other words, and we'll work on the wording, but it will be, in case the taxes change in any way that you don't see that tax on inventory, then one of the 2 of these will pick it up. They intend to split it, but if for some reason they didn't build rick houses, or if for some reason bottling didn't happen, I wouldn't bet on either one of those 2 things, but if either one of those happened, one of the 2 of those entities is wholly responsible to make sure 100% of that tax comes in. So you're locking in the inventory tax.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Sure. Questions? Entertain a motion to approve the resolution
I'll make a motion.
and authorize me to sign the documents, I guess.
I'll take the motion.
Motion by Keith.
Is that including the wordage to come? Is it the future wordage on there?
There are a couple of typographical things we're going to change with it from the one that you've got, and that's what he just explained.
Right.
That's why we went back and talked about it.
I understand. Okay.
Motion's been made by Keith, second by, was it Bernard?
Yes.
Bernard. Further discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Thank you all.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Tell them thank you too for choosing Bardstown.
And Jeff, some companies do the IRBs, it fits, and some companies don't do the IRBs.
Right.
We just did one recently, didn't ask for the IRBs.
Well, this is really fuels the growth. It allows them to buy equipment right away and
Yeah.
do things to do. So, again, thank you.
Thank you. Next, there is a tax moratorium request from Finn Davis Rentals.
Yes, question, I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Go back up.
Back to the
First
first
resolution, they require a second reading.
No, not the resolution. Now, he'll, later, and somewhere along the line in the project, a year or two from now, he'll bring a ordinance back that will require a second.
Okay.
We catch. Tax moratorium request, he's going, he purchased a piece of property for $185. It says he's going to spend $49,000 on it, so that portion would get a 5-year exemption on reassessments. Entertain a motion to approve. See, that's in whose district here? Right here by John Kelly's office down from Howard.
No, across 3rd Street.
Gary's?
It's not mine.
Yeah. Well,
It'd be yours, Bert.
No, it's down this way, across 3rd Street.
It's right here, right across from Mike Brooks's.
Yeah, but I don't-
Mike Brooks is.
You don't cross
I
3rd
don't
Street,
cross
then.
3rd Street.
It ain't mine.
It's yours.
I think it's Keith's district.
Keith's district.
Yeah, you go
Oh,
out.
that is, yeah.
Could that happen to a better person? He's trying to block it off with everybody else.
I was thinking I had everything on the right-hand side.
Oh, it's hard to keep up with
No,
it.
true.
It's hard to keep up with it.
I don't
Yeah.
cross 3rd Street.
But basically, this is
That's right.
a tax moratorium where the assessment stays the same for 5 years. Motion to approve or disapprove? I would recommend approval.
I'll make a motion.
He's spending, I mean, he just bought it for $185, spending $50 on it. I mean, that's a pretty significant
What a minute.
revamping.
I think,
Well, did you second that? I mean, did you make a motion, Keith?
Yes, I'll make a
Okay,
motion.
Second by Gary. Discussion.
yeah, I think that's 40,000, not 49.
Is it? It kind of looks like
I
49.
think it's the
I
common.
think it's
Oh, I see it
40,000.
is, yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
I see
okay.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought 49 myself. Thanks.
Either way.
Either way, we'll never know what he's going to go spend on it.
I guarantee you will know what district that's in.
Yep.
All approved, say aye. Disapprove, and motion will carry. That's fun. Landfill solid waste report.
Okay, I have a couple things to go over. We're going to start with equipment first. So our undercarriage on our high lift is...
And I was wrong on the agenda, was it?
Yeah.
Keith corrected me that on that Friday, but I didn't get a chance to get it back out to you guys.
So we need...
It's all equipment.
Yeah.
We have roughly 6,000 hours, so that's about right for an undercarriage, how long it lasts. So we've got a couple pricing. It is just a little bit higher for Wayne Supply, but that's Cat Parks. It's around, it's $18,464 for that amount. So I would recommend using Wayne Supply.
So Brandeis won't use the Caterpillar, what?
It's aftermarket parts.
Aftermarket. So that's,
I'll make a motion to accept Wayne Supply for the additional because the parts will make up the difference and they warranty their own frame.
yeah. Motion's been made by Keith, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Eric. Discussion? All approved, say aye. Aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry. We're on a roll, John.
Okay, next thing, trucks. So basically, the second sheet of that, what I passed out is a list, a log of all our current trucks. The lead time to get these trucks is anywhere from 6 to 9 months, or probably longer than that. So I was trying to see if we could advertise to bid this. That way, if we get bids, open bids up, talk about it in a fiscal court meeting in January. That way, 6 months later will be next budget. See if we can go ahead and advertise for this.
Need a motion to approve that size, I need a motion to approve the advertisement of this. Motion by Burns, or second?
I second.
Second by Jeff. Discussion?
It's just advertised,
Yeah.
bid.
Yes, I
Still
will.
wait final approval on it.
Yeah.
We'll update, I'll get the bids, I'll bring the bids probably the first meeting in January.
On further discussion, John, why don't you look and see if there's any, occasionally, and I see them in these magazines all the time, new trucks sitting on lots around the country. I mean, I get that. It's like a kid getting a toy book at Christmas time, and it's got all kinds of trucks in it.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is, so basically you can get those trucks on state contract prices, like you do pickup trucks, dump trucks, all that stuff. There are some companies that I think they might have these.
I'll get you that magazine.
Okay.
I mean, this is a slick finish magazine. They're all over the country. I didn't realize there's so many garbage trucks in the world, much less what's on the market.
Oh,
It's amazing, the amount of garbage trucks on the market.
okay with it being a different color?
Well, we'll see about that. But just look at it, and that way when you come back to a meeting, you can see what's available.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question? The truck that you're gonna advertise for, is it pretty much the same trucks that you're running right
The
now?
same truck, yes.
Okay, okay.
It's automatic transmission.
Right. Have you all ever entertain the thought of getting the dumpster ones like the city's got, or it just wouldn't be, it probably wouldn't be.
The front
front end
loader.
Front loader to, you know.
We're getting
you could
close.
Serve one, you know, you can eliminate a couple positions, or put a couple
What
positions
would-
somewhere else you may need them.
So one option that we are looking at, it's a dream down the road, based on those automated trucks. So this truck right here, we're looking at a 25-yard rear load packer, which costs roughly $185,000. An automated truck is around $330,000, $340,000, but it has an automated truck, so you have one person on a truck. But with that, you have to get all the toter cans for everybody, or you could break it up to just maybe high-density residential areas, just to use those, so.
And we did
It's
have
an
some
option.
commercial dumpsters, but you gotta switch all the dumpsters
Yes.
out.
Oh, you can't.
You can't use
They're
those.
not
I got you.
We bought a bunch from the city when they
Yeah.
switched theirs.
We got a very good deal on a lot of dumpsters that way.
I
Yeah.
also found out a lot of those trucks you're talking about being on the lot, I'm sure you'll check on this, but a lot of those trucks will have a different type of engine, different type of transmission, so be sure to look
Yeah,
at
do your
that.
research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure you look at apples to apples.
So that's, they have those on those lots because they can't sell them.
Yeah,
And they won't be the state
or
contract.
somebody else
Well,
bought
it's worth
them.
looking.
Oh, yeah.
It just intrigues me,
Yeah.
the amount of the garbage trucks are in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you the rest of the
It's
story.
just like farm machinery, you can't beat that state contract.
All approve the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove, the motion will carry. Okay, you're 2 for 2, John.
2 for 2, okay,
You're
2
saving
more,
the
now
tough ones
halfway.
for last, aren't you?
Halfway through, okay.
Yes.
So working on equipment, so now we're working on future design. Okay, so we talked before for dealing with his force main serve project for the design for that. We had proposals, we selected HDR to be the engineer to help us with that. So basically now we need to settle on the amount to do their final agreement. So the total of that is $112,000 for that. It's broke down, and that includes the survey, that includes the geotech, that includes the final design. And that's for that force main sewer along our existing route to the
They
train.
cost about 1.4 million.
About 1.3, yes.
Well, it's the force main along with the water line and fire.
And yes, and the water line. So we added that on.
I have a copy of that.
You emailed it
I
to you?
emailed that, but I can give you a copy.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Here, you can look mine.
Yeah, it's at the GR.
Okay, yeah.
So for you guys, to know, we went through this process when when Ty Summit came to town. We used a different company, it was MSE at the time. And engineering firms tend to charge 8%. I mean, that's how they work. And I went back and looked at what MSE charged during that Ty Summit project. It was at 7 or 8% fee. So John even reached out to City of Bardstown to double check, hey, is this about generally what you guys are seeing? Because they're just getting through, guys, you've read it in the paper about their sewer lines. And it's a similar, end of the day, a similar project. This is the cost of doing business. I mean, that's the reason we want to bring it to you guys. Yeah.
I remember doing the initial sewer line and landfill expansion, not expansion, landfill construction. The initial construction, we spent about $4 or $5 million on the whole project back, that was in 1995.
I asked
94, 95.
I asked you earlier, John, and I think I might still be a bit confused after talking to Dean a little bit about it. So the HDR is separate from the,
Okay, yes, this is 2 things. So we got a habitat assessment. So the HDR is helping us do the force main from the landfill to town.
Design.
So that's the design of that. That's one thing. So that's what they're gonna help me out. Basically, we're getting that portion of the project and let them help us out. Now, the actual landfill expansion where we're at now, that's part of this habitat assessment. That's what Brad's worked on before I started. That's what I've been working on.
kind of a separate project, but the same.
Yes.
They're tied together.
They tie together.
Good question.
That's his, he wants to see if he can go 3 for 3 first before he goes for the
Yeah.
4th.
Now, this HDR, does that include the drilling?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so basically, that's a very good point. So you you want good survey and good geotech. You want to make sure that if you got rocks a foot deep, rocks 5 foot deep, so you get better numbers in construction if you know your road bore's in dirt, if your road bore's in rock, or your whole 3-mile force main is in dirt or rock, you get better construction numbers with good geotech.
So like a guy like Keith, if you ever bid it back in the day when you were working, you would know, am I gonna be in rock or am I gonna be in dirt?
You know, you had
And
to
what we
look
hope-
around the subdivision, you could say, I need to put a rock clause in there.
Right, well, what we hope
Yeah.
is we pin it down for them so they don't guess, and the money you spend in this pays off in the long run, by saying, yes, there's rock there or there's not. And the contractor doesn't, what they call fudge their numbers up to take and cover a rock clause. Because once we bid it, it's theirs. And if you tell them that, they're going, I understand it from a contractor's point. So we're trying to define that, where is rock? And that cost is hid in that I thought it was 110,000. Was it 112 or 110?
112 with the proposals, they said we could negotiate, cut it back to 110.
After Dean
After,
called us about that when we emailed it to him.
You need a motion to approve HDR contract.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Bernard Ice. Discussion?
One question.
Yeah, I've got a question.
What are we gonna do if somebody tries to hook up into this?
You add to a lot, man.
You gotta have them pump stations.
Yeah, you gotta have a pump station.
So,
We own the line, right? When someone hooks to us, they would have to hook to us without knowing, and they had got to go through the city bar stand. We own this line. So that is up to the fiscal court how you would want to do that.
fiscal court at the time would make the decision. I've already put the word out on this one. You guys will not have, probably all likelihood won't be dealing with that in the next couple of years. But down the road, the fiscal court can make a decision to allow other people to tap onto it. I would advise against that, because this is a dedicated line. When I say dedicated, this is dedicated for the leachate for the landfill. Without that leachate line and at your disposal for 50 years, 40 years, whatever it may be, then adding more to this line could impede your ability to support the landfill. Because we remember a day, Brad, I don't think if you were here or not, but we remember the day where we had to haul, Lee was here, where we had to haul leachate. 8,000 gallons at a time.
Didn't work very well.
Didn't work
7
very
days a
well.
week, still all day.
So this is for the future generations, and we considered, do we want to put a line in where somebody wants to develop some property out there and put another pump in and tie to it? But in reality, this is too important of a project to take that gamble
Okay.
without some further engineering by
I mean, is
somebody.
that your word, Keith, or what's your?
Yeah, that's fine. I know this leachate, it stops up from time to time, right?
Okay.
It builds up, yeah.
Yeah.
So that ought to be a deterrent right off the bat there to not let anybody hook onto it.
And that's another thing we're adding on with this, just different picking stations to help clean out the line throughout. So we're actually designing places to do that, to plan for the future.
Jeff, you have a question?
Now, that was it. We would be responsible for maintenance if someone else.
And we've been
Right now, we own it until a certain point, and it will be the same point again, it's our line until we dump into the city's line. So it's 4.5 miles, 4 miles, something like that.
Just under 4
That
miles.
we maintain.
I don't
Good and bad parts about that, but yeah.
I don't think you want to get in the sewer business.
No.
Trash business is hard enough.
Everything fall in place. When do you target a bid date to start construction roughly?
Hopefully get this design done by this spring or summer, and then we could possibly do it this summer, probably next summer.
Next summer.
Not 6 months from now, but a year and 6 months probably.
What about right of way? Have you got all that worked out?
So basically, that's one of the other benefits. We looked at, once we were looking at initial design for this, we looked at 3 different routes. And the good benefit about this, we're doing basically right beside an existing line, so you don't have to fight it.
It's in the state right away, most of it.
We might do a few different adjustments in a few spots.
You'll try to get rid of the elbows?
To get some of that stuff, so it's a little bit different, but basically the same route.
Good question. Great. Those are questions we had at our meeting with engineering firms. Okay?
Motion's on it.
Is it still on the table? All approved, say aye. Thank you for that help. Disapprove, motion will carry, because I do lose track.
One last thing, so basically that was part of the force main sewer, this is part of the landfill expansion project now. So with the administrative application we're going through now, we have basically another hoop to jump through. We have to see, our project is in this area and see what kind of endangered species are in this area. Basically, we have 3 species of bats and buffalo clover in our area. So now we need to hire a biologist, that me or Brad aren't biologists, so we need to come in to assess our habitat to
You'd be
see.
like a fox in the hen house anyway. You go.
Oh, I know what my answer would be. Nothing there.
That's what I'm saying.
So-
And this is part of your application process, and we had to do it back in the day, so.
Correct.
As the landfill grows, so think of it, the footprint of the landfill now is this size. So it's gonna grow to this size. We have to make, as it grows out larger, that where that footprint is isn't covering the stuff up or affecting these animals or species that John's referring to.
Most of it's shale.
Yes.
Underneath of it.
So we have a proposal from H&B Engineering, so they have some local guys here that I've worked with in the past. Their price to do that is $9,834. One thing I did do, I checked with the city of Barstown, and I think Eric did too, just to see if these prices are in line with what they had, and they've had several, have had assessments basically for that, right around $10,000. So they said we're not far off on the amount.
Well, what did we approve today for landfill archaeology?
Okay, that's archaeology, so that's to make sure we don't have
Arrowheads.
Indian burial grounds.
grounds.
This is hoops that, my binder's this thick.
Hey,
and
guess
stuff
what?
that-
We're on the opposite side of bureaucracy now.
If you want to come out and see, I got a binder this thick of the administrative application of the hoops you have to jump
Do we
through.
have to do this first time?
Yes, we did. And that's what I tried to use a lot of that information, because in 25 years, it hasn't changed. We haven't had Indians in 25 years, but they said, you're disturbing more ground. You weren't in this area, now you're in this area. Your borrow pit was here, now you're here, so you have to do that in the remaining area.
We tried.
They kicked
I
it
tried
out.
to get it.
Yeah, they wouldn't allow it.
City got in some bad trouble a few years
Yes,
ago.
they did. Right down here too, wasn't it?
Pretty close.
It cost them some money, didn't it?
I think so.
That, and then when they built their Clearwater tank, some other issues down at the water plant.
Motion to approve the habitat assessment cost.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Jeff.
Check it back.
Mr. Conservative made the motion because he read around it. I like that. That's right. Is there a second to the motion? Second by Gary. Further discussion? All approved, say aye.
So we,
Motion carries. Unanimous, barely. You should, somebody should have just given me one no, John, today.
They were all eyes.
Oh, I see. Yeah. We had a couple more things to bring up. We decided to just
yeah,
run a
you
few
better
more
not.
at one time.
Santa Claus is out up there. We're done.
You better look for Easter now.
But I mean, what you're doing today is planning for the next 30, 40, 50 years, so it's all important.
Yeah, it's like Brad said, you're in the business of the landfill, you gotta
Got to spend money to make money.
necessarily.
Yeah, just two quick things are the free passes for next year, they're coming out in December's billing, so just look for those. And then the holiday schedule will be closed Christmas Day, New Year's Day, so we'll be picking up, that's closed Wednesday of both weeks. We'll pick up a day late, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
But we will be open on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Picking up garbage, regular schedule, regular schedule. Road Department report, Lee? Yes.
John, just come to my attention that we're having some difficulty with dumpsters. Just a shortage of dumpsters that we don't have around here.
Roll-offs or?
Roll-offs.
Roll-offs, yeah.
Yes, that's a issue we've been having for the last 2 years. We've been buying some, buying some,
We
buying
bought
some.
20 last 2 years.
Yes. There's two issues. Having the boxes to send them out and having the drivers to do it. Right now, we have two guys that drive nonstop. They show up today, they show up early, start work early, and then I just had the conversation with Joe Frankie walking out the door, said, look, we're gonna work till 6 tonight, trying to get caught up. We have like 5 runs to Marion County today. So we got pulled another guys, we got 3 guys on that today. So we got 2 issues there, having the guys to deliver those and pick them up and the boxes.
Be out of line, but could you put some numbers together to?
I was talking about that, you and I had a conversation yesterday about it. Put some numbers together. I asked Joe he gave me some information about how many runs these guys making each day. And it might be to the point where we put another driver on and buy another truck. If you're going to be in the business, getting the garbage to your landfill, you got to be in the business. And we continue to grow. We're at about 140 or 50 boxes now, 140 probably?
Probably around 140.
Okay, so get a full inventory of how many boxes you got and the, I've got the numbers of turns that they're making on the average. I've got that information.
That's
We'll
how
send
many
it.
boxes we get. You guys drive around town, you see that there's tons of other companies
From
that are
out of town.
doing it. And that's okay. That's okay that they
Yeah,
come
but that's
down.
free money.
It becomes a problem.
Then free that, you know.
Jay, you're not getting
To make sure
Make
that
sure they come to us.
comes to our garbage. That's the reason we got in business. in the first place.
But the main thing why we got into the roll-off business, because there's big companies that do this on a daily basis, was to ensure that the garbage came to our landfill.
And it's supposed to, ordinance.
And it's worked real well for 25 years. Good point, yeah.
Solid waste or landfill?
That would be mine.
Landfill.
Landfill is the roll-off.
Is the roll-off.
That's correct. I know it's,
What?
it is what it is.
Makes a difference.
But let me give an example. And just in the last week, we've had 2 different demolition jobs that required 8 to 10, 12 dumpsters a day if they got them. But so they had to wait for us to make the turns to get them serviced. And we're getting ready to have 2 or 3 big, large projects over the next year and a half, 2 years that will probably have to have 10 or 15 dumpsters a day. So, servicing those people will be difficult. But let's think, I'll bring it back to next quarter.
All right, thank
Good point, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, both distillers are gonna do new warehouses and tear the one.
That's another big boom is the distillery. So if you look at basically every warehouse has 1 or 2 roll-up boxes there. And we have them everywhere. Every distiller has 1 or 2.
And we're gonna tear those over.
Good problem, man.
It's good to be busy, but like you start to see these other ones all over, from not us, of Waste Management, all these other companies, and that's because basically they call us, the majority call us first. We can't get you a box for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or we can't tell you, we don't know till we get it when we call. If we got a box sitting on a project for so long, we try to get in touch with those guys, are you done with it, are you done with it? But it's just, we're busy,
On
which is good.
average, what one of those boxes cost?
Probably 3 to 4 to 5. It just depends on what size.
So the average size is 30 yards times $8 a yard is $240 times.
Oh, to rent or to purchase the box?
Of purchase.
All
To
the
purchase.
purchase, about 4,500, 5,000.
It says bump, what, 10 of them?
I think it's around 5 or 10.
The lifespan of them is what?
We've had some that, before he was out there, they last, I mean, it's metal.
You have to put some floors in them occasionally.
So if the last 10 years, you're talking about $400 a year,
Right.
I mean, it's,
But I've seen
No brainer, I
time,
would
but
think.
yeah, I've seen time where there's 15 or 20 of them, 30 of them sitting out there. During the construction downturn and a few other things, so, it's a balance.
I think a pretty compelling business model was going to show itself pretty easy.
Right.
If you
I think
numbers, that's why
And
I made some
we charge $2 a day rental too, so I mean, if you factor that in, just that $2 a day rental, I mean, that adds up too to help you out too, to pay for the box.
I don't think it's going to be a no-brainer, but I like to say.
The big question is to get in our truck another guy. Joe's already pulled his hair out, he's got like the 2 demos a day and 5 trips to Lebanon. I mean, you get 2 guys on an excavator saying like, look, I'm charging this guy so much an hour, and I'm sitting here, and our guys are going as fast as they can.
But now, in all due respect, one of those contractors contacted me, and he called you on a Friday, expect you to deliver 8 or 10 dumpsters on a Monday morning.
Which is
there is some
impossible.
planning process that has to take place. And we can accommodate most people if they give us some notice.
And that's what
And have done
everybody
so. So all due respect to both sides of the aisle.
That's what we say to a lot of guys, like especially the demos.
So what I do, I gave this guy today Waste Management's number, and because they're $150 higher a turn. But, if you had to have them, that would be cheap.
That's like, we can plan, we can get like one of the road department guys to help us out to like dedicate that guy. So we can do something to work out on our end if we know in advance.
Somebody had a question?
Yeah, are you tracking how many calls you're turning down each week?
Yeah, we have a call log.
Call log.
Basically a log.
That's
Or waiting list.
Missed opportunity.
But generally, Joe does pretty good about trying to pull one from, a lot of people, there's probably a dozen to 2 dozen, just people have them on their corporate lot. They don't need them every day. And so you can call them and tell them we'll pull it and bring it back. It works pretty good. But the key thing is added another $70,000 job, $80,000 job.
That's the big question.
That's the big question.
In truck.
And with trucks a one-time expense, but that $70,000, $80,000, we need to put a pencil on how that's going to factor out. Road department report.
As y'all know, we see quite a bit of rain this past weekend.
Didn't rain in my district.
So right now, while it's muddy, I've just divided all of our guys into in trucks and gave them shovels and told them to go out to each district and start cleaning culverts out and report any culverts that may need a grade all or whatever to clean it out.
Thought you were going to have to shovel the water out.
Desperate times.
Hey, the leaves are still bad right now.
The leaves are,
and the limbs clogged up the culverts.
Yeah, we had a few calls Saturday night, and it's mostly leave related, that's causing the problems. So that's what they're doing. They did that yesterday and doing it today as well. We did some ditch work on Lick Creek Lane and Bennett's Lane. Finished up that. Doing some shoulder work
We finished up Hilton Lane, Browns Lane, and Hope Ridge. Those were, and actually Murray's Run Road we're currently working on. Those are from the overlay of that we just did, and bring the shoulders up to the pavement.
Did you say Stoner as well?
We finished Stoner about a month ago. Yeah. Wednesday, the winds was up pretty high, so we had a few call-ins on trees. We also did some cleanups. We cut down a tree on Sullivan Lane that was causing a problem. Cleaned up Simpson Creek Road, Wilkerson Road, and that huge elm on Campground Church Road. Got that cleaned up.
Appreciate that. And Bert got yours on the docket, ready to go, the one you asked about.
Yeah. And of course, had guys out patching potholes. Again, I encourage anybody to give us a call to report any potholes. We try to get to them pretty quick. And that's all I got.
Okay, any questions?
Just back to the rain and the flood and water. I got a text from somebody the next morning after our rain there. Showed a deputy at a doorbell cam, 1:30 in the morning. Pretty remote location. I called Raymond, and 1:30 in the morning, this guy was down there checking on a house that he knew down there that nobody was checking for the citizens. I thought that was pretty neat.
Good. So he knows it's a prone
He
to
just knew
flood.
there was a property down there. I guess, that they were monitoring remotely. Wasn't anybody home, but and the water was up. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, he's out some pretty hairy stuff.
Like a welfare check.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, so I'll make a real quick comment when we move forward. On county roads, a lot of times we are limited on the size of the culvert we can stick in. So the public really needs to be aware. There's times where it's going to go over the road. There's physical limitations on what you can do. So from a public standpoint, county roads are different than state roads. Be careful when you're going down. There may be times where Mother Nature gives us more rain than that particular culvert can handle.
It rained Saturday.
Yep.
There was water over state roads.
Yep, and I heard about that.
And
So
my house.
I tell the story all the time. Just because a county road is clear from snow, don't assume the state is clear, and vice versa. Just because the state road's clear with water, don't assume the county road is. So it's real.
I have a question, not concerned with water, thank you. On that, back up just a minute, on that undercarriage, I had some notes here, you handed this out with the bids. It excludes pads, it says.
Yes, our pads are good.
They
So
are
we
good.
use our pads.
Okay.
So when we buy a high lift, we actually put the pads on instead of the regular pads you would typically see on a high lift. And what you find is, because it's in trash all day, the reason we do that is that taller pad goes through dirt better, gives you more traction, so they don't wear out as much.
I'm just curious.
That's the reason we do that. Now, you'll get it one time, but the next time you'll have to buy the pad.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
EMS report, Joe's not here today, we'll go to jail report.
As of this morning, we had 130 inmates, 45 of them are state, 85 are county, had 44 circuit court cases, 41 went to district court cases, a total of 99 males and a total of 31 females.
31 females? Still,
Damn.
is that, but that's still a pretty good number compared to what it used to be.
Yeah. But they can change after first.
I meant to speak to you earlier about this. I talked to you initially about an outdoor classroom, and the state respondent said no, because it's got to be in a secured, I talked to myself, we're in a fenced-in area, but that wouldn't work. Are you still able to, are you able to get any kind of classes, or, there's a group that comes down there and
We
does?
started back last week after we
Did it?
cleared out the library.
Okay.
And we got the population increase.
I thought it was a good idea to have a portable classroom brought in, and where you can have your
I've seen
TV.
them at state prisons, but like I said, they're different than us, so.
Yeah, they got all the regional wire and all. We've got some, but not like they've got. Okay. Thank you. Anybody got any questions for Taylor? We'll move on to the recreation report, Bryce.
Girls basketball have their championship weekend this weekend, so after that they're done, then we will move on in boys. and other notification for our corporation.
Okay, under old and new business, Sheriff emailed you guys his budget. I think I'll make copies of everybody, hard copy for everybody. If you'll take that, I'd like for you to look at it and go through it. Any questions? Doesn't have to be approved till the first of the year. I really would like to wait till the next court meeting if it's okay with Raymond. I've sketched it a little bit, but that second sheet you sent me on where you are to year to date, you copied them as well. That was a big help to understand where you are to date. What I can tell, generally speaking, on his budget, it didn't look out, nothing out of place, amount to anything. A few numbers could go up or down either way. But we'll bring that back to the next court meeting.
Was the concealed carry number the same as it was last year? You dropped it down?
Roughly about $15,000.
Really? Because you knew that
They don't have to have
they
it.
don't have to have it in there. Yeah.
We still get a few that come in and renew or get theirs, but it hurt $50,000 in our budget.
Yeah, I think, I would recommend that if somebody's gonna carry a concealed weapon, that they do go get license for it, because, I mean, it's informative, and it teaches you. It's good gun responsibility.
Well, isn't this true? If you don't have your concealed weapons in Kentucky, you can go to another state,
You could be in big
you
trouble.
could be in big trouble. So why not go ahead and take your concealed weapons? You know, you got it, why not carry it on?
Yeah.
It's a positive thing, and there's still some people, probably about 50%, that continue to get their carry concealed, but numbers were down about 15,000, which we said that.
Right. But it's good for folks to have it from a law enforcement perspective,
yeah.
because it registered, when you pull somebody over, I guess it comes up this
As
guy.
soon as you pull somebody over, it says the registered owner of that vehicle has carry concealed. It gives the officer, the deputy, a heads up that there could be a possible gun in the vehicle.
Now you don't have that ability.
Now you don't have it.
Yes, officer.
When if you buy a weapon, you don't have to go through a background check again.
That's true too, that's the benefit of it, yeah. Thank you, Sheriff.
How much does it cost for a class?
I believe it's about $40-$60. It varies because the state gets some.
Get 15,000, that's a whole lot of people then.
Okay?
Let me ask.
Yes.
On your monthly spending, for sure, on the calendar year. Right. The remaining amount is less than monthly charge or monthly expense. Take the revenue divided by 12. He's down about 50,000 for this month. But you have you had expenses earlier in the year that make it balance out, I guess. Yeah, and what happens is we're still not counting, like on my budget, I didn't count the month of December. Right. I still have that money coming in, which will be somewhere in between 100, 150,000. This is revenue is through November, December 2nd. Yeah,
December the 2nd.
Yeah. All right. And I didn't count into my budget
And
December money coming in.
I asked for that way we can see where we are today. So I don't see a whole lot of time.
That's good.
The one difference I will make note of is that the advancement this time will be 450,000 instead of 400,000.
And the reason.
And it's an offset in the budget, though. You borrow 450, pay it back, but it's not complete offset. It doesn't matter.
And like I told the judge, the reason why is we had to borrow money from fiscal court this year to fund our payroll. So instead of borrowing, we should have the advancement that we're doing. Should carry it
Interest
over.
free.
So it's a positive thing.
Interest free. You borrow $1 million, I don't care. Let them pay it back. Okay, under old and new business, our feeding program this December will be the 18th at the weekend in advance. If the media can help me with that, I appreciate that, Randy. And we'll put the word out as well. Tonight at 5:30 at the First Christian Church, there will be a community conversation about vaping. Vaping is becoming a big issue. Health Department sponsoring this program. Y'all welcome. We all know it's not good for you. Anything you put in your system like that can't be really good for you. But so they want to give a little presentation on that, and I do plan to attend a little while.
What time is it?
Meeting at 5:30 at the First Christian Church
It's tonight.
tonight, yeah. The health department, she sent out a memo on it probably a month ago. Rachel Browning at the health department. Anybody have anything else they want to bring up, old or new business? Matthew, you have anything?
No, sir.
Guys, you have anything? Anything from the court? I mean, out in the audience?
I just got a text from Joe that the Explorers are being built mid-January, 3-week delivery after that.
January 2020, I hope.
I'm like him, go ahead and put 4 more in the budget for next year, or go ahead and order them.
Yeah. I already told Dick to put them on. I can't give him a commitment beyond the fiscal year.
I don't think we'll have that problem next year. You know, that a lot of your problem was because Ford quit making that police package, and they had to revamp their whole line, so.
You're going into a year of catch-up.
Right.
And if you order them now, they'll be here by mid-July or...
I told Dick go ahead and put 4 more in the cycle.
Appreciate it.
And hope you don't wreck any more.
For the mileage that we drive, we're pretty fortunate.
You know, Raymond, I tried, before you go back a little history, I tried to get the court to put in our policy and procedure manual that if you have an accident, it's your fault, then you pay the deductible, but they would go along with me on that. And it wasn't just police, it was the whole, everybody, you know, if you hit a deer, it's not your fault, you know, but if you had an accident, it's your fault, inattentive, run the rear end somebody, texting, but they wouldn't go along with me on that.
Salt River's got a real stringent policy
Yeah.
about that.
UPS does too.
Yeah, they escort you right out of there.
But anyway, motion to adjourn. Motion by Bernard Ice to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Y'all say it all you want to. Motion's been seconded by Eric. All approve, say aye. Disapprove, the motion will carry. I see you, man.